Ever feel like you're doing this teaching thing alone? You don't have to be. Shared teaching is all about sharing the workload through the power of collaboration and teamwork. Together, we'll walk through all the difficult parts of teaching and learn how to streamline our processes, fine-tune our time management, and develop a more manageable workload. If that sounds like a dream come true to you, then welcome to the Shared Teaching Podcast. Let's share in the teaching to make those dreams a reality. Now here's today's Shared Teaching. Hi, and welcome back to the Shared Teaching Podcast. I'm your host, Susan. You are listening to episode number 135, where we're discussing another Writing Tip Wednesday, tip number 9, all about how to zoom in to a small moment for personal narrative writing. So I don't know about you, but every time I think about personal narratives, small moments comes to mind. So let's talk today about how we can give our authors a little bit more guidance to bring their stories to life. So when young students start writing personal narratives, they really want to tell a story about the entire day or event. So if you're saying, think about a time that you went to the zoo, they're going to tell you about when they woke up in the morning, the drive there, every single animal they saw, right? They're not thinking about just one moment that was special about the zoo. And it's really great that they're enthusiastic, but sometimes those stories tend to read more like a list of events than a detailed, engaging narrative. So that's where this idea of zooming in on a small moment comes in. And if you read anything about teaching writing, then this might not be very unfamiliar to you. But if you don't know a lot about teaching writing, and totally okay, not all of us have any kind of curriculum to follow when it comes to teaching writing, but maybe you haven't heard the terms of small moments. But if you go and Google personal narrative writing and you look at Pinterest for ideas, guaranteed your feed is filled with lots of ideas about small moments. Okay, so you want to encourage your students to focus on one specific moment or experience from their day instead of trying to write about everything that happened. So instead of writing about their whole trip to the zoo, they're going to zoom in on a moment maybe where they fed the giraffe or they saw a lion for their very first time. By narrowing that focus, students can add more details, use descriptive language, and really explore their feelings and thoughts during that moment. And that's going to be kind of your end goal. So you really want to think about how you're going to get them from the entire idea to focusing in on just that small moment. So here's a couple things we can do. Number 1, we can brainstorm together. We're going to brainstorm a list of big events with our class, things like a field trip, a trip to the park, a birthday party, a play date at the friend's house. Then you're going to ask your students to pick one event and think about one specific small moment or one thing that they did from that event that stood out to them. Not the whole day, just while they were in that place. Okay, number 2, they're going to draw the moment. You're going to have your students draw a picture of that moment. This is kind of the brainstorming phase and the pre-planning, right? Drawing is going to help them visualize the details and think more deeply about what they want to write. Okay, 3rd, you're going to have them add sensory details. Once they have their moment chosen and drawn, you're going to guide them to add sensory details to their writing. You're going to ask them questions about what did you see, hear, smell, or feel in that moment. You want to think of your 5 senses. These are the details that are going to help make writing more vivid and engaging. And don't be afraid to split these up into multiple days. You don't have to do all of these steps in one day. Last, you're going to share and reflect. You're going to always have students share their stories with a partner or the class. And then you're going to encourage them to reflect on how zooming in on a small moment makes a better, more creative and detailed story that other people are going to want to hear about. Right? And there you have it. A simple but effective strategy to help your students zoom in on those small moments and create rich, detailed personal narratives. The more specific they get, the more their writing is going to come alive. I want you to try this tip in your classroom and watch how your students' stories are transforming from simple retellings about their entire day or how they even got to that event to just focusing on one special thing that happened to create a unique experience for them. I hope you found this tip helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the Share Teaching Podcast so you never miss an episode. Bye for now. If you've loved this show, then join me in sharing the teaching,
hitting that subscribe button,
and leaving us a review on
iTunes,
so we can be found by more teachers like you who are ready to start sharing the workload. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Find new episodes each week on shareteaching.com. Thanks for listening to the Share Teaching Podcast.